Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Annalise, and if you're new here, I would love for you to stick around and see what fun recipes I create. Today, I'm gonna share one of my absolute favorite desserts and something that is so near and dear to my heart. This is a Southern Chantilly cake. And guys, I'm so excited to share it with you because it is perfect for Easter Sunday, which is coming up. It is perfect for any spring, summer, really any event because it is so light and fresh and creamy, and I'm so excited for you to make it. So anyway, let me go ahead and share with you what you're gonna need to make this delicious cake. Go ahead and get started with the cake portion of this video. So I will share the frosting and the filling in a later part of this video, but to start off, you're gonna need some cake flour. I also have some baking powder and salt in here, but if you don't happen to have cake flour on hand, I will have it in the recipe and down below on how to use all-purpose flour or create your own cake flour. And then I have some buttermilk, I have some granulated sugar, 5 eggs. You're actually going to need 4 egg whites and 1 large egg. I have a separate bowl right here so that whenever I crack the eggs, I can save the egg yolks and make homemade lemon curd for biscuits or any dessert that you have, any bread. I have some vanilla extract and some almond extract. The almond extract is what is going to make this cake extremely delicious. It is so tasty. And then of course you're gonna need some butter. So I have 1.5 sticks of butter, and before it goes into the batter, I'm actually going to slice it up. All right guys, so I am going to go ahead and combine the egg whites, buttermilk, and vanilla and the 1 large egg into this mixing glass and then put it in my KitchenAid mixer. You can definitely use a hand mixer for this. It's just a lot easier for me to use this right now because I've been using it all day. Just pour that right into the mixer. I'm just going to turn this on low and let this beat for just a couple of seconds so that everything is incorporated. All right. Now I'm gonna go ahead and slowly pour in the sugar. I just have 1/4 cup to help me pour it in there. Probably pour about 1/2 cup at once. Kind of let it mix together and continue until all the sugar is gone. Perfect. And in my next bowl, I have my flour, baking powder, and salt. And I'm just going to kind of sprinkle this in, same thing like I did with the sugar, to help incorporate it all. Okay, so last but not least, we can't forget about the butter. I went ahead and sliced it into little bitty slices of butter, and this is just gonna help, again, everything incorporate evenly. So I'm just going to do this about 1/2 stick of butter, let that incorporate, and then do the rest. So, last bit of butter, and I'm going to let this whip for about 2 minutes. This is really gonna help the batter become fluffy, and that is what you want for this recipe. I have my oven preheated to 350 degrees, and I also have 3 cake pans. These are 8-inch cake pans, but if you wanted to use like a 9x13, that is totally okay. And I went ahead and sprayed it with nonstick spray and also these little parchment rounds. If you don't have these, it's totally okay, but I will have them linked so that you can purchase these. They are my absolute favorite, and nothing sticks to the bottom, which is like the best thing when you make a cake. It's so satisfying. So I'm going to divide this up. All right, cake pans are all ready to go in the oven. These are gonna bake for 20 to 25 minutes, and you can just test them with a toothpick to make sure that it comes out clean. Around the 20-minute mark, you just wanna make sure that they are still light and fluffy and soft. Cakes are out of the oven and they baked for about 25 minutes. They have been cooling for now 30 minutes. When you make the icing, you want your cakes to be completely cool because the icing needs to stay cold. So I don't like to start anything else until the cakes are completely cool. So, right here, I have all the ingredients that I need for the filling and the frosting, and I wanna go ahead and share with you what you're gonna need for this part of the cake. So, first I have some strawberries. I went ahead and washed all of my fruit. I have the strawberries, raspberries, some blueberries, blackberries, and then for the frosting, I have some vanilla right here, just a little bit of a splash. I have some powdered sugar, some mascarpone cheese, and you want all of this to be softened, some cream cheese, 1/2 stick of butter, and then my strawberry jam or preserves simple syrup. So all this is 3 tablespoons of strawberry preserves and then 4 tablespoons of hot water, and that's just gonna help dilute it. And I'm going to spread this all over the cake layers so that everything stays nice and moist. I'm gonna go ahead and start cutting the strawberries, raspberries, and blackberries. I found that in my Chantilly cake, I really like to have fruit in every single bite. And to do that, I really need to cut it into smaller pieces. I don't worry about cutting the blueberries, but I like to cut the strawberries, blackberries, and raspberries up just to ensure that each bite has some fruit. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut off the ends of my strawberries. Nice and easy. And how I like to cut them is to just cut them down the center and then down the center one more time. And so you have 4 pieces. And then from there, I just like to cut those in half. So they're about that size. They're not too small, but they're not too big. They're perfect. I'm finishing up cutting these blackberries, and I'm gonna head to the fridge to grab one last key ingredient for our frosting, and that is heavy whipping cream. If you didn't know, that is actually where Chantilly cake comes from. Chantilly means heavy whipping cream. So I'm gonna finish up these, grab that heavy whipping cream, and I'll meet you back at our mixer. To get started on our frosting, I'm going to go ahead and pour in the whipping cream into our mixer. And we're gonna do this separate from all of the mascarpone, cream cheese, and butter because we have to whip the cream first. Put that on a medium-high speed and let it whip. All right, looks perfect, guys. You want your whipped cream to be almost a stiff peak, kind of soft, like this, because you will be mixing this with the mascarpone, and so you don't want all the air to come out of the whipped cream because then there would be no point of the whipped cream. So I'm going to now take all of this whipped cream out and put it back into the measuring glass that I poured it into because we need to mix up the butter, mascarpone, and cream cheese, and then of course the vanilla and powdered sugar, so that we can incorporate all that together, and then we're gonna fold in the heavy whipping cream. I did not even clean the mixer or the paddle attachment. I'm gonna go ahead and get started on this second part of the frosting. I know it sounds like it's kind of complicated, but I promise you it is so easy. It just has a little bit of steps, but you got this. You can do it at home, I promise. So I'm going to add in the butter and the cream cheese, and you really wanna make sure that these are softened. So make sure you get it all. And we're also gonna add in the mascarpone. Get it all in there. Make sure you scrape the sides. And this too needs to be softened. Perfect. All right guys, next you're gonna add in the vanilla extract. And if you have clear vanilla extract, definitely use that. I didn't have any on hand, so I'm just going to use the classic vanilla extract. I'm going to pour in half of the powdered sugar because I don't want it to fly all over my face. Get that butter in there. And start it off at a low speed. All right, adding in the rest of the powdered sugar. Make sure you get it all. And one last run. This looks fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and take the paddle attachment off, set that to the side. And now with the spatula, I am just going to kind of scrape down the edges, making sure that I got everything is well combined. All the powdered sugar is mixed in. It smells so good. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put the whipped cream in, and I'm going to just kind of lightly fold everything together. You don't wanna blend this too heavily or mix it too much because then you're gonna take all the air out of the whipped cream. So go ahead, just plop that in there. And now just give it a quick fold. It looks perfect. Awesome. And now we are ready to start putting the cake together. I'm so excited to eat this cake. Y'all, it is finally time to put this cake together. So what I have here is I have all of my berries, I have my strawberry preserves, simple syrup, have my frosting, and then I have a regular cake spatula? I don't know. And I also have an offset spatula. And then what I'm gonna use is I'm going to use a bread knife. And this is just so that I can slightly trim off the top so that I can put the strawberry preserve simple syrup down on the cake. If I put it on right now, it would just slide off because of how smooth and soft and delicious the top is. So this is Zach's favorite part. So I'm just going to lightly trim the top part off. It does not have to be even, guys. This is a homemade cake. It does not need to look perfect. No matter what, it's going to taste delicious. So you just want to lightly spoon this simple syrup on, and you can kind of see that my simple syrup still has some bigger pieces of the preserves. That's totally okay. So lightly drip this around and make sure you have enough for one more cake layer. Next, we're gonna go ahead and grab my spatula. Really, I think I'm gonna grab the big spatula. And I'm just going to put on about this much. You wanna make sure that you have a pretty thick spread and also enough for the next layer and to coat the entire cake. So just give this a rough spread. Once your frosting is completely covering your cake, you wanna go ahead and generously spread on these berries. Make sure you leave enough of the non-chopped berries for the top of your cake because you wanna be able to decorate it however you please. And don't forget to get the edges. When you go to the edges, just kind of stick them down into the icing so that they don't fall off. All right, so magically I have my next layer of cake right here. So we're just gonna take that off and place this right on top. And we're just going to repeat those steps. So I'm gonna go light cutting. Going to do a quick drizzle of our strawberry preserves and then top it with our frosting. Okay friends, so last step, we are going to take our Chantilly cake and we're actually gonna put it upside down. So this is just to ensure that we have a flat top. Just like to make sure that we are leveled, everything looks good, looks great. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to top it. And you don't need to add any fruit or strawberry preserves to this part because we are going to completely ice the cake right now. I started getting icing all over me, so I had to throw on a quick apron. But for this next step, you're going to need just a small glass and a Ziploc or a piping bag if you happen to have one on hand. And we are just going to fill this up with a small amount of frosting so that we can fill in the open spaces right here because you don't want, I mean, you can let the berries come through. I think it's beautiful, but because we're trying to get that look of the classic Chantilly cake, we're going to do it the professional way. And just go ahead and put this in your glass. And it doesn't have to be filled up all the way. Just do it enough so that all of your edges can be filled in. Now that all of our frosting is in our Ziploc, and you're gonna notice that there's a small tip right here that doesn't have any icing in it. You wanna cut off about 1/2 inch because you're gonna want like a pretty big hole for us to be able to squeeze it all throughout the cake. So I'm just gonna show you what it looks like. Just do this. You can go ahead and leave your cake like this if you would like and just go ahead and put on your fresh berries. But I'm going to go ahead and use the rest of my frosting. I'm just going to lightly spread this on, not worrying about the presentation. It's gonna be beautiful no matter what. All right guys, I'm almost done with this cake. So for the decorations, we are just going to put some strawberries right in the corner. Go. This is how you make the Chantilly cake